I am going to introduce Josh Golembeske, a UFO investigator, podcaster, filmmaker. He is the maker of this documentary. So, Josh, welcome to this meeting. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir. And you did a great job pronouncing my last name. Most of the time it gets butchered. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here tonight. Thank you everyone for joining. I am a UFO super nerd, super passionate person who grew up in an experiencer household. I grew up in a haunted farmhouse that had everything from ET to ghosts to everything paranormal. And as I got older, I'm realizing that most of it's connected to the ET. So as a young kid, I've been obsessed. Today, I live UFOs full time. I am a podcaster about it. I'm a MUFON field investigator. I'm the director of production for a company called Gaia, which does a lot of UFO content. So I'm fully immersed all the time. I did this as a side passion documentary project because as much as I love my work at Gaia, I come from a background of reality TV music editing, which slowly drained my soul in my 20s and early 30s until I switched and started doing UFOs full time. But that skill set stays with me. And it's a lot of music video style editing. And when I met Skits, I as soon as I met Skits and heard his story, one, I was blown away by the contactee part of it, the UAP part of it, but also his music. He's really, really good. And it just meshed perfectly with my background. And I knew it was the right doc to make. Now, all that aside, the one thing I'm the most passionate about in this space is the experiencers. There's plenty of nuts and bolts content out there, plenty of documentaries and TV shows. And I love nuts and bolts. Don't get me wrong. It's great. It's awesome stuff. But I think the real answers, the real interesting topics, the real knowledge that people are seeking comes from the contactees, the experiencers, the abductees. And I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with John Mack's work. I don't know if I'm sure a lot of you have read his books out there. If you haven't, please pick them up both. Being an experiencer is a super deep, super complicated thing. And that brings me to my last kind of point here is one of the other things I'm disappointed with in the mainstream media, and I'm sure some of you are too, is a lot of the content about ETs and experiencers, if they even touch on it, is what I call fear porn. It's just designed to scare you. It's for entertainment. It doesn't really go deep. Now, believe me, I like an Independence Day. I like a movie like that. I'm not against it, but I'm more of like an Arrival type guy. The movie Arrival, Close Encounters of the Third Time, Contact. So that led me to making this movie. I wanted to capture experiencers. That was the driving force behind it. And then once I met Skits and it matched with my background, I knew it was on. And we've been working on this for the last year, and I'm just super proud and super happy to share it with you guys.
That's wonderful. Well, it's so good of you to be here with us today, Josh. Rafael is just restarting his computer. Now, he doesn't need to be here for the when we screen this documentary, because we're just about to screen the documentary. So I think what we should do is we should just go ahead and show everybody the documentary here. And it's a 30-minute documentary. Now, there is, I believe, an additional 10 minutes that is going to be added to the version that gets released. Is that correct, Josh?
Yes, sir. There's about a 12-minute sequence that focuses on my lab that is not currently in this version of the film.
Fantastic. So this is like a special version that nobody else is ever going to get to see again, probably. And then later, when the documentary does get released, I hope you'll all go out and rent it or purchase it or watch it wherever it becomes available.
Hello. I'm just making sure if it's working. Is my audio working?
I can hear you, Rafael. First of all, Rafael and Josh and Melissa, good job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I just want to say something real quick. To everybody that's watching right now, thank you so much for taking the time out and watching. This was a very long time in the making. So I just want to give a special 100% shout out to my brother Josh for putting in all the hard work and love and attention. I mean, the process was so amazing working with him. And, you know, when you talking about this kind of stuff, it's really with with a lifetime of experiences, I've had a lot of negative with expressing my story more than positive, right? So when you have a beautiful person like Josh and a couple of other people that came before him that helped me get on this path of enlightenment and really start sharing my story, I mean, if it's not for these kind of people, I mean, I'll probably still be stuck in my house, super introverted with PTSD, wondering what was happening to me. But it's because of people like Josh that has taken the time out to like really show the story, educate while expressing the story, and really just use the artist paintbrush in the way that he was able to really deliver the story. I mean, it's a blessing. So if you guys can just give me one more round of applause for my brother Josh, that'd be and also shout out to Melissa, my beautiful wife here, because without her, I mean, 20 years deep with this beautiful woman, 2 kids. And I remember before I even had an opportunity, I was super scared. Like, should I tell her about my experiences? Everybody I tell really doesn't think that is going on, or they think I'm crazy or whatever. And I really like this girl, but ever since the beginning, when I told her, she was open to it. And then throughout the course of course, being with me, I mean, she ended up having her own experiences on her own, which made her a lot more, you know, attached to the subject. And you know, I just want to thank you, Melissa, in front of everybody here for all your love and support, my love. And yeah, that's about it. That's my little spiel. So thank you for giving
Wonderful.
me, Rupert. Thank you so much for giving me the platform. It means the world to me, my brother. So thank you for taking a shot on me as well.
You are very welcome. I would just like to tell everybody that is here, I've known Rafael for years, and he is the kindest, most friendly, and amazingly generous individual that I know. He is a wonderful, wonderful person, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy to be doing this. He has produced music for some of my documentaries. I can send people the links to those documentaries to hear his music if anybody's interested. And so I'm just so excited to be doing this event with you today. Thank you so much. So we are going to have now a question and answer session, and I am going to invite anybody that is here to either electronically or physically raise your hands, and I'm just going to take questions. What I'm going to suggest today is that this, you know, if you are an experiencer yourself, if you've had similar experiences to what you've just heard, then it's okay to mention that, but let's not go into big, long life stories right here, right now. This event really is about finding out, asking questions of Rafael, Melissa, and Josh. So if you would like to ask any of these three any questions at all, please go ahead and raise your hand, and I will pick upon people, and I'm going to ask everybody else, please, to stay muted while this process is going on. So, Parsi, yes, you have a question. Go ahead and unmute and ask away, and just let us know who the question is for.
Sure. The question's for Rafael. Rafael, really, really inspired. Thank you so much for your story and your bravery. As we've kind of connected over Twitter and X, I'm a childhood experiencer myself. But I wanted to ask you, my burning question is, how did you find out about your experiences? Did you go through any regression sessions? Did you go through any QHHT sessions? How are you able to recollect all this information? Because in my experience, besides seeing the UFO and the orbs and everything else for me has been through regression sessions. So I don't really know if I've been abducted. I'm kind of scared to look into it further, but just putting it out there. Thank you.
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for your question. That's a great question. And to answer your question, my brother, I haven't had any regressions at all. These are just what I like to call fragmented memories that I have. Like they just I can tell the difference between the dream and a physical reality kind of connection just due to the fact that I'm super good at lucid dreaming myself. And I've had connections with ET as well on dream state. So as far as the memories go, I have been taught a couple of techniques by a good friend of mine, Miss Denise Stoner, on how to kind of like recover some of the lost memories through the fragmented memories that I kind of remembered on my own. So the way the timeline works for me as far as like my memories go, I kind of remember very small parts from like 5 to about 11ish, 12, where it's just kind of like little flashes of like the ETs in my room, and then maybe me floating out of bed and through a wall, or me waking up inside of a UFO, kind of feeling around and walking around. But these are like 5 to 10 second memories. I hope to one day get regressed, and then maybe through the regression, I can unlock more of the pathway of how I got in these ships, or, you know, what I did, what kind of information could have been passed down to me. But it's strictly just the memories I've had collected throughout the 40 years I've been here. So, my brother, thank you for that question. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm going to add to that, actually, that I have known people who are experiencers who don't remember, and I've suggested to them, the next time you have an experience with these beings, ask them, please, can you allow me to remember my memories? Can you let me hold on to the memories? Because that would help me. That would make me feel better about what is going on. It's the not knowing that is sometimes scarier.
Sure.
And
I'm sorry to cut you off, my brother, but to add to that, the technique that Miss Denise Stoner told me specifically was, I kept on telling her, I remember little pieces. And for instance, I told her, I remember being in this auditorium, and she was like, okay, the chair that you were sitting in, what did it look like? And when she asked me that question, it was almost like these little neurons and synapses in my brain kind of connected together, and it forced me to go, you know what? What did that chair look like? Which ended up giving me more of the room. And I realized that the chair didn't have legs. It was attached to the back of like a wall, and it looked like a scoop that I was sitting in. And in having that memory kind of pop up, it kind of extended more detail in what the being looked like and what the room looked like. So that would be something I would pass on to you, as far as like, maybe it's be a way for you to recover your memories. Maybe if you remember the UFO or the sighting that you had, try to remember, you know, how the air smelt that day, or what other aspects you saw besides the UFO, and that might unlock some more memories for you. I'm sorry to cut you off, Rupert, but that just came to me. I felt like I needed to say it.
That's okay. Interrupt me all the way anytime you want to, Rafael. But I will just add to what I was saying. When I have suggested to people in the past, ask them, then they have asked them, and 1 or 2 people I know have then been able to, from that point forwards, remember. The other thing is, hypnosis is good because it's digging away at what's already in your mind, but you can also try remote viewing to them. And in remote viewing, it's not digging away at it's not accessing what's on the inside. It is your conscious mind going back, even in time, to that time and that place, and seeing new details. And in fact, I'll let everybody know here that if anybody is interested, on Tuesday evening, Rafael is going to be my guest in an event that I'm doing in my Patreon group, an alien contact event. We are going to try and connect with hybrids, and with Rafael's permission, I haven't put this to him specifically, but we're going to try and connect with the hybrids that he is associated with. And if anybody would like to participate in that, again, just send me a direct message. I see Tara waving away there. Yes, you're going to be able to. I will send you an invite. You're going to be able to participate in that. Thank you, everybody, for raising your hand to ask questions. I'm going to try and get to the questions in the order that people put their hands up, if I can recall. Chris, hello, on the East Coast. How are you doing? You're outside by your fire, I see, as normal.
Oh yeah. Good evening, everybody. Greetings from New Jersey. Much love, respect to our guests tonight. From one artist to another. I kind of deal in a different medium, more independent film. But yeah, I'm out here by the fire pit, just listening in. Good to get back tonight. You saw. Thank you for liking my photos, Rupert, with the project I'm working
You're
on.
welcome, Chris. Do you have a
Appreciate that.
question?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm going to get right to the meat and potatoes of this thing. Well, it's more of a statement. I've had dreams in the past, and I've experienced that dream in reality later in life, like a deja vu moment. I'm wondering if that could have anything to do with, being messages being sent. And I just wanted to bring that one across and see what anybody might have thought out there. But as I'm getting older, I have more of these deja vu moments. Like, I remember having a dream
Okay.
about that. It was just a snippet of time. So just wanted to share that, see what anybody thought.
Thank you. Would Raphael or Josh like to answer maybe the question? Are there any signs that you experience ever that indicate to you that maybe you've been downloaded with information, or you have something within you that that is connecting you to these experiences?
I'll take it if Josh doesn't have anything. But okay, so I'll give you a little bit about how the downloads come in for me, right? So I'm a musician, right? I write my music, and I can tell when information is kind of being pulled from one would say the ethers. The way I would explain it to my kids is I go, hey, there's music above your head all the time. That's why you turn on a radio station and you can hear it, right? There's a frequency. So I believe that there's also a frequency of other people's ideas that might be floating around up there. Maybe extraterrestrials might be bringing the information down. And I guess due to my sensitivity in dealing with these beings and constantly communicating with them on a telepathic basis, but I'm a little bit more sensitive to receiving and kind of deciphering these information, these downloads that come in. And the way that the visual downloads come in for me is, I remember having a meditation one time. I was deep in a meditation, and I had this being that wanted to contact or just wanted to connect with me. And the way the images come to me in my mind is, imagine having your eyes closed, and from the right side of your brain, this picture starts floating into your consciousness, and it starts moving slowly towards the left. And as it starts to engulf your mind's eye and your vision all in your mind, you start feeling the senses of what that image sees at the time when, what that image is trying to show you. At the time when this being was trying to connect with me, it was trying to show me its land where it lived. And the minute this image passed my mind, I started to smell like the way the environment smelled like. I can feel the grass on my toes as the image passed. I was able to feel the way this being felt about me, which, by the way, was the most intense feeling of love I have ever felt in my life. Like I said, I have two beautiful kids, a wife I love dearly. I'm super connected to my family, and yet still, I've never felt a love more than what this being was able to express to me. It was almost like every cell in my body was being hugged at the same time. And I would consider that to be almost like a download in itself. So when I'm in a trance musically, and I'm just kind of listening to this piece of music that I just created, and I'm thinking about, what do I want to say to the world right now lyrically? What do I want to write down? It's almost like these ideas start rushing to me, where it's like, what we should talk about is more love, or the fact that humans are capable of more than they understand, like remote viewing or telekinesis or telepathic conversation, lucid dreaming. Like, we forget how powerful we are. And I think it is through these downloads and this communication that we have, if we open ourselves up to it, which we all have the gift and ability to do it. I'm pretty sure that if not everybody, most of you have been channeling or getting these downloads without even knowing it. You could be walking down the street and get this moment of inspiration that can all of a sudden cause a ripple in the lives of the whole community, just by a podcast you're trying to open up, or a book, or some form of art that just invokes people to go, you know what, this is so beautiful. I want to start talking about my experiences. I believe that these are what these downloads tend to do to you. And yeah, I mean, you might be, to answer your question, I know this was super long-winded, but to answer your question, you yourself might be getting those downloads for a reason. So I recommend getting a dream journal, putting it next to your bed. And when you do have dreams, start writing them down and try to
That's what I always forget to do.
Yeah, I know we forget to do it, but try to do that yourself. Don't be like us. So that way, when you do have those kind of dream that might end up becoming true. I mean, I think Melissa has had a dream that's come to reality when you used to work at Universal.
Oh no, yeah. Well, I'm very. Oh.
It's all good. Go ahead, you can talk.
I'm very dream intuitive. In general, a lot of very vivid dreams that I have. It's either something that happens down the line, in some way. So I totally understand those like deja vu moments where you're like, oh shoot, you know, is this supposed to happen, or did this happen? And in some ways I almost try to look into the situation to see if maybe I'm supposed to prevent something, or like, what am I supposed to learn in this moment? So yeah, I totally like resonate with the deja vus and the dreams.
Fabulous. Well, thank you very much for answering that question. I'm going to move across to Kylie. Do you have a question, and could you say who it's for, please?
Hi everyone, thank you for being on the call. It's for Rafael. Rafael, I've had not only like dream state stuff happening, but I've had real tangible experiences. And they seem to border on where I don't know whether it's an ET contact or whether it's paranormal stuff. There hasn't been a lot of it. There's only been about 2 or 3 really clear incidences. One was a shared incident with another person, which makes me think sometimes, do ETs tend to try and take on a form that we understand, to assimilate better and to reduce fears? One was very fearful, and I was too scared to even open my eyes, and I was paralysed. And I just kept thinking stuff in my head. I just kept like calling out to God in my head, and it went. But after that experience, I was actually left with a light language, and I don't tend to use it because I feel like I'm a bit nuts if I do. So I just don't know if anyone's had that sort of stuff happen to them. It's like, I'm so interested in this stuff, and I think, well, if I haven't had an experience along the line, why would I even be interested? So anyway, I'll just hand it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Kylie. And you are not nuts. You're in a place where...
about to say that, my brother.
Most people in this session have probably had some kind of experience like that. You are not nuts. I'm going to, you address that question to Rafael. Would you like to answer that question, Rafael?
I would love to answer that question. First and foremost, I would like to say that I remember in the beginning, for me, it was scary as well. Like I like to say to people that it's not all peace, love, and light. It gets to become peace, love, and light, but you have to gain the information and kind of go through that little bit of a dark night of the soul. You got to kind of remember that some of these beings don't understand like facial like recognition, or they don't. Us as humans, we tend to use faces and body language as a large part of how we kind of inhale communication through other beings, right? And then when you have this gray or reptilian or, you know, Arcturian or whatever being might end up popping up in your room, the expression on their faces might end up being blank. Like you look directly into their eyes and they could be saying, I love you, but they look like they're saying nothing at all, or they just look intimidating. Then you also have to try to figure in the fact that this has only been shown to us with movies and like through science fiction. So the body does go through a form of shock and trauma. I mean, when I was having the communication with the mantis being, it specifically communicated to me, I can't look at it just due to the fact that it might be too much for my brain and body to comprehend this 7-foot insect cockroach cockroach, praying mantis looking being standing right next to me, although it might be loving, it might love me, it might want to nothing but the best for me in my path, it still would shock me. So I think that I don't know your whole situation, so I don't want to just say that this is what I think is happening, but if you did get scared through the initial experience, maybe it was because of the sense of paralysis and the fact that this being, is in your room that's so foreign to your body. That would scare anybody. So don't feel so intimidated by how they look. That takes time and that's okay. The fact that you got a light language out of it kind of gives me the indication that it wasn't negative. It was just kind of a miscommunication telepathically. But also, I don't want to hand over the your truth, and that's your experience. So however you believe it to be, I believe you. But you did get a light language out of it. Now, as far as being nuts, I have a friend that's a channeler, and I was just talking to him recently. We was talking like all day. His name is Tony, and he was like, I was like, dude, I can channel, but I only do it for like my family. Like sometimes if a family member passes, I'll tell them messages that they want me to say, to family members or, things like that. And sometimes I want to say it to strangers, but I also get that feeling in my gut, like, oh my God, I don't know this person. What if I'm crazy or something? So I totally get it. But I mean, I'm standing here in front of you right now and I'm telling you my story. And even though that was intimidating at one point, I got myself to a point where I felt like it was necessary for me to help awaken. So I feel like sometimes it's just when in divine timing, in time, when you feel like it's time for you to start using your light language or start telling people your story, you'll know when the time is right. And I do believe that if you do decide to tell your story, it will help a lot of people. So peace and blessings to you. And I hope that answer helped. Thank
you very much, Rafael. I'd like to say something just to everybody, just to address something that I'm pretty certain some of you out there are thinking and feeling, because there are quite high level CE5ers, alien contact event leaders out there in the CE5 world that flat out will tell you aliens don't abduct people. Aliens don't take people into their craft. And I understand the motivation for wanting to tell people that. There's nothing sinister. They love these beings and they don't want anybody to feel negatively about these beings. But the fact is that when you do your research, it is a very, very common thing. And it has been going back hundreds of years for people to have been taken on board craft by different alien beings, and for hybrid children beings to be created. Now, we have a very human sense of morality, and for many people, the idea of being taken against our will is appalling, and it's like bad. But the reality is, when you talk to people that have these experiences, most of them, given the chance to escape from their experiences, they would not. They like their experiences, and Josh is really emphasizing in his work here in this documentary that there are really powerful transformative aspects to this, very positive aspects to this. So if anybody here is kind of a little bit nervous, I didn't realize that these alien abduction things were real, take a deep breath. Don't worry about it. We know about it. We still have a vision of universal peace, love, and happiness. We can still interact in a very loving way with these beings, and we owe it to the people who are having these real experiences to listen to them and to support them, and even to be a liaison between them and the beings that they're having these experiences with. I'm going to ask a question of Josh, if you don't mind. Josh, what is what is next for this documentary? Where does it get released? Where might people see it, and when? And do you have anything to add to anything that anybody has talked about so far?
Absolutely. I'm in the process of launching it on multiple platforms, but until I get an exact date from them, I don't want to say anything. I'm excited to move forward with this, and it's been a long journey as I did this a side hustle. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit more about the transformational aspect of the phenomenon. It almost seems like it's like a shamanic initiation of sorts. It's almost supposed to scare you. It's almost like an ayahuasca experience where you're forced to like confront your own mortality or confront your greatest fears. There's something about it that unlocks people. And some people, like as I said in the doc, don't ever get past that. And that's one part of it. Like, I don't know, like I don't have the answers. What I do see though, and this is all sparked by the great work of John E. Mack, is that a lot of these people, it seems on purpose, and then they're unlocked, and then through the fear they gain love, they gain these greater gifts, they understand the world, and it gets deeper and deeper. This doc was designed to really bridge the crowd from 101 to the experiencers. As you notice, there's like sections that, like, for probably a lot of you are like, okay, I know that, Josh. And I'm doing that on purpose because so many people know nothing. Like, if, for example, in the 101 section about alien abduction, I wanted to go into, sometimes it's not even physical, sometimes it's done through your astral form, sometimes it's done in dreams. It's not that easy. And this film was designed to like try to gently bring in the masses into this world, into this experiencer world that most people are unaware of. They're still stuck on nuts and bolts. They're like government disclosure, whistleblowers. What's going on in Congress right now with the UAP Act? That stuff is awesome. I follow all of it, but this is where the answers are. And this doc is designed to try to bridge the 101 crowd into this universe a little bit, hopefully entertaining him a little bit. And I think Skits is just the perfect vehicle for that, with his music and his charisma and his personality. So that's where my heart is right now. I wish I could tell you exactly where it is right now, but the next couple of weeks I'll be launching all that on like my Twitter account. I'm not just saying that to try to hype it. That's literally what I'm going to do. So please stay tuned. And there is about 10 to 12 minutes missing from this documentary where I go into my labs. I don't know how many people are familiar with that. That's basically military abductions that seem to follow experiencers. They get abducted by ETs or non-human intelligences, and then for some reason the government or these deep black state programs or transnational corporations seem to step in and do the same thing after it. And we go into why in the documentary, and we go into a very powerful story that Skits and Melissa both shared. But I just want to take this 1 second to really thank Skits and Melissa for letting me enter their life and show up with cameras in their basement and really share their story of the world. I know it's very nerve-wracking, but yeah, you guys are born for this. Skits, you're so confident, and you were meant to express this stuff, and I feel that way too. And I just am so blessed and happy that you did this. You went on this journey with me, and this is just the beginning for both of us, buddy. And making more content like this and sharing these stories. I am not an experiencer myself, but I am from a family of them, as I said earlier. And I just feel super passionate, like abnormally passionate. Like, it's my true purpose to really share this information with the world, because there's nothing that's more important, and it gets deeper and deeper. And I want to go in my next films and docs, go into the reincarnation and the afterlife, which seems to anyone who gets deep into ET contact goes to enlightenment, afterlife, reincarnation, and even more complex themes. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. But thank you so much, Rupert, for having me on here, and I really appreciate this platform. And this is the type of crowd that I want to talk to, because I know they get it, and I know they're interested, and I know they want to share their stories too.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Josh. And
you had me at hello, man. Just want to let you know you had me at hello, dude. Nah, everything you said really resonated with me, my brother. And I just want to say thank you once again for believing in the journey. So love you, man. And I can't wait to make some more noise, my brother. Rupert, I'm sorry once again.
It's good. We all have so much to say. We could probably keep talking for hours. I've just released a little like 8-minute video that is of a reading that I had with somebody, because I am being spiritually enhanced by these beings. I have them all around me all the time. And in this reading, it confirmed to me what I already suspected. And that is, I am going to, after this life, have another incarnation in a human biological body, and then I am going to have a hybrid offspring with a alien being, and then I am going to, and there's a lot of thought processing needs to go on to really get this, but the hybrid, I am going to occupy the hybrid body, and that hybrid being is doesn't have a name, but it has given us the name D, so that we can refer to it as something. That D is me, and I have been communicating with D for 2 or 3 years, which is bizarre, but that sort of feeds back into what Josh was saying about how this really is complicated stuff, and there's time travel and stuff going on. So I'm going to, if you don't mind, I know other people still have questions to ask, but I would like to ask Melissa a question. Melissa, how has the making of this documentary from start to finish impacted your life, and what effect has it had on you and on Rafael?
It's been an interesting journey along the way. We don't often have these experiences, but they do come here and there. Anything from paranormal to missing time even, or, things visiting and such. But I don't see it there's no like scariness in it. There's no fear in it. It's always been positive, loving, a teaching in some way, knowledge and a download. It's always been positive, nothing scary. So the journey's been, interesting. We do our research, and it's just a constant learning, what's going on, and just figuring it all out at the same time. But everything's always been positive and loving, no negative experiences. So
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Melissa.
yeah.
Okay. Roy, hello. It's so good to have you with us. Roy is a very talented remote viewer, and he has very strong psychic perceptions, so it's good to have him with us.
Hey, thank you. This question's for you, Rafael. Have you ever heard the term soul contract or soul agreement?
Yes, sir. I totally am of the belief that I signed the contract before I got here, and even though I did get scared in the beginning, I've already this was going to happen. Yes, my brother.
Sure. That's what I receive a lot of that. The soul contracts, the agreement incarnating here that, to help fulfill the purpose of bringing awareness and light and love and peace, and bringing, the heaven to earth. And I just want to say thank you, and thank you to your wife and the producer, for the work that you're doing. It started out frightening and unsure, and just, but you are on your purpose, and it's a blessing, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
My brother, you're going to get me emotional. Thank you so much for saying that. That means the world to me, and I know it means the world to Josh as well, and my wife. So, I mean, Roy, man, come on, man. So much, brother. Thank you. That was amazing. Thank you, my brother.
I'm going to ask a question. In the documentary, probably one of the most important things, I'm guessing, that I could see in there was that you were shown a vision of some kind of a catastrophe happening on the planet Earth. And you're not alone. I've heard this many, many times, that people see things, fiery projectiles in the atmosphere, hitting the planet, exploding. And you received an impression that when that happens, you or the hybrids will have something to do, a purpose, a mission. I know, you know, you stated in the video, you know, you really don't understand all the implications of this, but even if you have speculations, I'd be interested to know what both of you think about people who have visions of a future which isn't so great. What is the purpose in these visions? What can we learn from them? Josh?
Yeah, if you don't mind, Skits, I'll go first. Well, I don't think we should approach it with fear. Now, there's a lot of work with David Jacobs, if you've read those books, that goes into some sort of disaster destroying the planet and contactees having a mission to do when this happens. Now, I don't know if that's true. I don't have much information on that, other than there's a great book that just came out that can give a little more light in this. Grant Cameron just came out with a book called UFO Sky Pilots. And in that book, they go into people who remember flying UFOs. And there is some of the question asked in that book, like why? Like, why do these people learn to fly a UFO? And it's not so dark, some of the answers to this. It's not about, it's almost like in the book, one of the contactees, his name's Ron Johnson from Utah, directly says that it's about moving people from different timelines or different realities because something's going wrong here with their current mission, their current purpose, and they need to be moved to another place. Now, that's a deep poetic version of it that is not heard much. There's a lot of fear around this, like asteroid hitting the planet, something bad happening. I don't want to go either way on it because I don't know. I want to hear what Skits has to say more about it. I just don't like to approach it with fear. It seems there could be something deeper going on. It could be part of their own enlightenment, their own transformation. It could be a part of the message to all of us to get us maybe a little frightened to change our ways as a planet. I don't think it necessarily means something disastrous is about to happen. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel about it.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah, Josh, to be completely honest, just to speak a little bit about what you're saying, I totally agree. When I saw this vision of the planet Earth exploding, to me, it felt more like an energetic explosion, not like a real meteor hitting Earth and we have a job to do. More like all of us starseeds was in the field, all of us people with our hands up, because it wasn't just me in that field, right? It was like a Woodstock amount of people in that field. So I was just one small piece of this really big puzzle. And it feels more to me like it's not like, hey, on the year 2025, a meteor is going to come. If we're not on this location with our hands up, that meteor is not going to blow up and we're all going to die. It's more like the world is going to come to this transitional phase, and it's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of destruction all over the planet. But us in the field on Mother Gaia can raise our hands to that darkness and change it energetically. That feels to me more of how this being was trying to convey the energy. I just feel like they use metaphors that are really dramatic, that kind of shake the spirit up. So that way, like Josh just stated, it gets you up to do something. If it's really soft and it's like, hey, a kid tripped on the floor, and if you're not there tomorrow, he's going to get a bruise on his knee. Well, it happens. The kid can learn, but if the world blows up and now you're in this field with a bunch of people, it starts feeling like, okay, maybe my job energetically is a lot more important to the whole sphere, the whole grid, the whole piece of this puzzle than I really give it credit to. So yeah, it's more, I take it more as a metaphor, not as a clear vision. But there are people that they have visions that do come true in their dreams. So I guess it's just I just take it how your body says to take it. I guess use your gut, use that sense in your body that goes, you know what, this was more energetically, but that was more like it might occur. So you never know when you're in that one movie with Nicolas Cage. What's it called when he was getting all those visions about the end of the world?
Knowing, is it?
Yeah, Knowing. There you go.
I
So
love that movie. To be able to see in the future and change things, that would be cool. Yoda said something pretty wise in The Empire Strikes Back. Yoda said, "The future is in motion." What that means is we can change the future. The future is not one-dimensional. If it was, we would have our timeline laid out and it's set in stone, and you stand back and you look at the timeline and there's no change to it. The only change is one-dimensional as you travel along it, but that's not how time is. Time is two-dimensional. And I'm a space scientist, and this is something that I've worked out through my knowledge of both space science and the paranormal. Time is at least two-dimensional. The future is in motion. The future can change. And when you get a being from the future or a premonition of the future, some kind of an insight from, for example, these beings showing you something that could happen in the future, that is giving you an opportunity to change the future. And if anybody here is concerned about where humanity is going in the future, the direction we're going in, you have the ability to change it. So learning about reality, what's going on, and how we're impacting our planet and the future, learning is a big important part of this, and I encourage everybody to keep learning, and that's why you're here, because you want to learn stuff. So congratulations and well done to all of you.
100%. To speak to time too, I totally agree. Everything is happening all at once right now. So a lot of these premonitions might be coming to you because you are able to access the now that is later, right? So a lot of people tend to think that we're only in this timeline on this linear reality, but I believe that I'm a quantum jumper myself. Like when somebody goes, the sun might blow up in a week or two because there's this big spot on it. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe for you guys on this timeline, but when I get tired of dealing with all this end of the world stuff, I'm just going to go to sleep and wake up on a timeline that better suits what I'm trying to do. So it's like, I'm never worried about the negativity. Like, for instance, just on a smaller plane, like, have you ever been to a concert and worried about parking? I never do. I park in the front because I always tell myself when I get there, there's going to be parking. And what ends up happening is there's always parking when I get there. But it's this sense of knowing, and this sense of knowing that if I'm on a timeline where there's no parking, all I have to do is shift to a timeline where there is. So yeah, time is definitely two things. The way Rupert explained it is 100%.
I'm going to have to do a manifestation experiment with you sometime, Rafael. I'd be interested to know
Hey,
how well
let's
you
go to
do
the
it.
casino, man. I can show you slot machines.
A couple of my close friends have raised their hands and are asking questions. Tara is such a wonderful person that beings, when they're in distress, they will flee to her for help. Tara, what is your question?
Thank you, Rupert. It's almost a three-parter, but first, I'd like to speak to Josh. Sir, you seem to be diving into something that I'm pretty well dove into. I think that's correct English. I would love to speak with you sometime about my labs, the 20 in bags, all kinds of things like that. I'm sure you've dug into the rabbit hole enough to know what I'm talking about. I know someone who actually has Zoom meetings for kind of like a support group, and she's very knowledgeable, and so are all of her friends. And I would love to connect you guys because I think Melissa, Melissa, Raphael, and you, and even Rupert would probably all benefit from knowing each other. And I would love to tell my story as well someday. So hopefully I can work with you. The second part, I definitely do have beings that come to me when they're in distress, but it's not just them. It's like those big messages that people, like, we all kind of feel connected that we have, and we all kind of hear it. Those are the ones that I get loudest and clearest, but I also get like solutions. So if anybody is the doers of the group, I'd love to talk to you guys too one day. And I know you are, Raphael, and I know Melissa is, and I know Josh is, and I know Rupert is, but if anybody else wants to join along and like be an even louder voice, I'd love to be a part of that. So thank you all for doing what you're doing. I admire it all. Thank you for being courageous enough to just NGAF so we can like get it done. Thank you. Just thank you. And thank you.
You're very welcome, and please reach out to me on Twitter. And I would say anytime, I'd love to connect. And please share your story any way you can. And it takes some bravery to do it. Honestly, even for me to talk about other people's experiences, it could take some sort of social toll, on some of the people in my life who are warming up to it though. Like with everything in the news now, my my wife likes to look at me like I'm crazy sometimes, but like even her now is asking questions about UAPs, and the time is now. Honestly, that's kind of my point. So please reach out on Twitter, and I'd love to connect with more people. And yes, share your story as much as possible.
Thank you. And my third part, the very last part, I'm sorry to take up so much time. There are alternative life, timelines that we don't usually think about because the future is such a prismatic, crazy, non-tangible thing, but it's real and it's there and it's happening. And I hope we all kind of keep that in mind when we listen to those messages. It's important. It's not some intangible that might happen. It's something's going to happen one day and we can all touch it.
Thank you very much. Susie is also a wonderful person. She dedicates so much of her life and her time and her energy to volunteering for people in the UFO and CE5 community. Thank you for being here today, Susie. Do you have a question?
Well, I more wanted to tell you, I did just come back from the ufology World Congress in Mexico City, but I want to make sure Indy Pixie gets to talk because didn't she call in so she could or something? But I'm still going to go ahead. Sorry, but I wanted to acknowledge you. So what I wanted to tell you is, I mean, there's so many things, and I'm so mad because I couldn't get back and I just came in at 8 o'clock, but it's recorded, so I'll relax. But what I wanted to tell everybody is that, so I'm in California, and there was a time when I was working with the Romero Institute, which is what Danny Sheehan has, but it has more to do with progressive and, it's more a political thing. But I didn't work with, they're trying to really put together like a whole new, sort of a constitution almost, if you will, that's more progressive. But Danny gave us an update the other night on all the UAP stuff, because I think I told you I want to work for their office, but I think they're hiring like way more qualified people, But so I asked, it's really a group that we get together, and the guy, so I asked if we could share that video that Danny did. We were on Zoom, and it tells everything, exactly what's going on in the Congress and what could happen now, how they're trying to change it, and but he talks a lot about UFOs. He also talks about the government, but if anybody would like it, I think the best way to do it would be maybe just to tell Rupert if you'd like it, and then I could send it to him and he could send it out.
Yeah, I would like to talk to you more about that, Susie. So send me a message after this.
Yeah,
session.
And then just because of all my, volunteering for all these different conferences, and most recently in Las Vegas at the Disclosure, there were quite a few people, particularly that had even been inducted like for years, like this famous people. So it was just fascinating. And I'll just stop there. But if anybody wants to hear that update that Danny gave us, let Rupert know, because I have it now.
Send me a message and I'll include it in the links that I send out.
I don't know what I missed, but I think it was really good.
Okay, thank you very much, Susie.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask another question. And the question I have for all three of you is, what advice do you have for people? And it could be, what advice do you have for people who want to learn more about this subject? But it can also be, what advice do you have for people who want to really do something to help the planet? I know that's a much bigger question, but our alien friends out there, they are giving us messages. They are giving us downloads. They're assisting us and supporting us in moving in a positive direction. And what advice do you three have for anybody that wants to help the planet move in a positive direction,
Well, that's a great
or just
question.
learn more about this subject? Are you going first, Rafael?
That's a great question. So I'm jumping at this to go first, and I'll let Melissa and Josh go after that. But what I would say is it's art. I love using art. Everybody says, "Well, I don't know how to write music." Cool, you know how to write a short story. Yeah, well, I don't know how to, do this. That's something that you love. You can always find a way to enlighten, educate, and inspire people with it. So I say start with the passion you already have. And I'm talking about any passion that has to do with communication, whether it be music, poetry, short stories, podcasting, having conversations, setting up communities, retweeting important information to groups that might not have the information accessible. Those are all forms of doing the work. I mean, I got friends of mine that would tell me, hey, if it wasn't for that song, I would be like in a very bad situation. Like I heard this song at the lowest part of my life. And when you said this, I knew I wasn't alone. If I didn't take the time to put myself out there to make that song, maybe that specific person wouldn't have been inspired to inspire other people. So I just find that art is a great way to be able to like mask whatever you might be scared of. Like some people don't want to tell their experience because they're scared of how other people might judge them. That's a perfect way for you to put it inside of some sort of art. Maybe draw it or figure out some sort of other medium that you don't feel so weird about it, but you're still getting the information out there. That would be my advice, is just find a way to spread the word as much as possible. So, and also the foundation of all communication would be love. So if people don't understand the communication or they don't resonate with it, I don't believe that it's our job to force feed anybody this stuff. I believe it's our job to plant seeds and watch them grow. And all we can do in those situations is, if the seed is not watered properly, if we're not looking after the soil, if we're not giving it love, it won't grow anyway. So once we plant the seeds, we check in and we keep watering it little by little. But once we start force feeding it, all we're doing is shoving manure where it doesn't belong. So that's what I would recommend. And I'll pass it off to my wife and then Josh.
No, I agree with all that. I was going to say, just embrace that power. Trust your gut feeling, and don't have any doubt about it. A doubt in anything, doubt in the experiences that you might have had, doubt in that intuition you felt about, doubt in even, manifestation. You just, know, just have a comfort with it, and always do your research. If you do feel uncomfortable, know other people are going through it too, and we're not afraid to tell you about it. So that's my little piece.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pass over to Josh.
Yeah, I just love what you both said. You guys nailed it. I just want to bring up something that I think is really important, not just for contact, for unity, and there's a ton of science behind it now, is meditative states, specifically theta. Theta state is where people remember flying UFOs. It's where miraculous healing happens. It's where remote viewing happens the best. Theta state meditation. Most people can meditate and get to the lower states, but getting to theta is important because that seems where the magic is. Now, we know just from the Maharishi effect in the 70s and 80s that was studied that just a group of people meditating in an area can lower crime. We know now from the 90s and the 2000s, Lynn McTaggart's work, that intentions or focused meditation can literally lower crime in city streets. We did an experiment at Gaia. The power of meditation and consciousness in that state and connecting out of your physical body is the key to contact, to unity, to miraculous healing, to a whole range of stuff. So if there's one thing I can recommend that's outside of, because I mean, Skits and Melissa just nailed exactly the core of the question. I'm giving a little side dish here, is that theta state meditation is the key to it all, because it can unite us all, and also you can make contact, and it can just lower raise the vibrations and lower crime and just lower negative vibes throughout the planet. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you very much, Josh. Do you have any advice, Josh, for people? What is the process for getting into theta state? How do people get there? How do people know when they've reached there?
Well, there's definitely different devices you can use to know where your brain waves are at this point. To get there, there's actually some interesting research on this. A lot of famous inventors and scientists use theta state. The Thomas Edison, for example, would try to enter the state, and one technique he used is he would meditate or take a nap, usually in the middle of the afternoon, which is when I'm the most tired, and he would hold a rock in his hand, and he put his hand just over the couch, and then when the rock fell, he would wake up enough to know that he was sleeping, but keep himself in that groggy in between sleep and awake state, which is theta. A good way, a modern way of doing it is using binaural beats and tropic tones. I think I'm saying that wrong, but you get the point. Look up those definitions. I've done that recently, actually, and holy cow, you get into a deep state really quick. So I'd recommend using music or like an old trick like Thomas Edison used to use. But there's fascinating research about it out there and how to maintain that state. It's definitely the state right before you sleep, and it's hard because you're gonna fall asleep sometimes. And I definitely do. Like I nap at the office, and I'm like, oh, that was 30 minutes. Oops. And then sometimes I'm able to hold it, and that state is beautiful. Like you don't dream, you can create. You're flying. Something about it is amazing. It's like I'm disconnected from my body. So
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, it looks like Ink Pixie has written something on a piece of paper. Would you like to hold it up to the screen? Hold it back a little bit. Lifelong abductee, Lyran Starseed, awakening now. Now move it up a little bit. Yeah. Skits, when did you realize you're a starseed?
That is a great question, and I'm happy we finally got it in. So 100%. Okay, so all right, I have this little I call it a memory, but I don't know. It's kind of weird because I don't know if this particular memory happened while I was still on this planet as myself, and I kind of shifted into another timeline that is simultaneously happening on another planet, or if it was a memory of a past life that I had on another planet. So I just remember being on this boat on this planet that was like the whole planet was covered in water, and the water looked like it was purple and electrified, and it looked like it was dense, like really dense, like jelly. And in the reflection, I noticed that I wasn't human. I had a scaly face, like really big fins for ears, and just scales on my hands and web hands. The reason why I feel as if I was merging with a simultaneous like life that might be occurring right now was because I was looking at my hands as if they were unfamiliar. And if it was a memory, I wouldn't be looking at my hands like I didn't know why I had webbed fingers and scales. So I'm assuming that I popped into a consciousness of a life that's currently happening. And I just remember always looking up at like the Orion constellation and just telling my wife, I'm from there. I know I'm from here. I know I'm just not from this planet. I don't know how to explain it. I've always felt like I didn't fit in. Even my old family, as much as I loved them, never really felt like my real family or my actual family. I always felt as if I'm here for a little while and then I'm going back to where I'm supposed to really be. And the more I get that sense of feeling, and because of my experiences with other hybrid beings, I'm assuming that maybe I'm having these experiences because I'm able to have these experiences because of my DNA. And through thinking about, the whole process and all the things that I just said, I just kind of came into the realization that, yeah, I'm more than likely a star seed. And what I mean by star seed is I don't think this is the first incarnation I had on Earth. This could be the second or third, but I don't think I've been a human for more than 2 or 3 times. I think I'm usually an extraterrestrial, and I just came at this time to do some work. So I do believe I'm a starseed because of that reason, if that answers your question.
Thank you very much, Raphael. I do just want to say I love your Wookiee sitting on the chair in the background, the Wookiee next to Grogu. You have you've made some wonderful alien friends there.
Yes, sir. I keep them around me all the time, my man.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move towards the end of this meeting. I don't want it to go more than 10 more minutes. I know in some parts of the US we're approaching midnight, and other parts of the world it's a lot later. I would just like to let people know again, if you would like to receive a long list of links relating to my groups, to Raphael's music and his groups, his social media, and also Josh's, please send me a message after this, a direct message, and I'll, after I've had something to eat and a little bit later this evening, I will put all of those links together in a list, and I will send them out to anybody that specifically asks. If Josh, Melissa, Raphael, if you want to give any closing remarks before we all say goodbye, I'm going to give you the opportunity just for closing remarks. I'm going to start with Raphael.
I would love to, and I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Thank you to everybody that took the time to watch this documentary and be here today. It's because of you guys that we're able to like really spread the word. So please, help us by, when it does go out on these platforms, by resharing and kind of spreading it out, leaving great comments, and that's always helpful. And just love each other as much as you can, because I love you guys, whether you know me or not, or whether it makes you uncomfortable. Just know that you have somebody all the way out here that loves you guys for no reason at all, just because I want everything to be completely loving and positive on this plane. So I just want to say thank you. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you to Rupert. Thank you to Josh. Thank you. Thank you because I'm breathing. And just a shout out to my brother Roy over there.
What a wonderful guy Raphael is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well said.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you for listening to our story. Please share your stories. We'd love to hear them. Thank you so much. We love you guys.
Thank you very much, Melissa. And Josh.
Disclosure is nigh. It's coming down the pipeline. And learning about crash retrievals and Congress fighting about it isn't what's going to shock people. It's going to be what the experiencers have to say. That's going to come down the pipeline in the next couple of years. And I'm hoping this film in our community can help people transition. We might be ridiculed, but very soon you're going to be the first phone call a lot of people are going to make. And I just want to thank Rupert, everyone here today, Skits, Melissa. You guys are the best. Much love.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'll remind people, if people want to join me in a remote viewing session to try and connect with Hybrids and Raphael's hybrid children, perhaps on Tuesday evening in my Patreon group, then just send me a message and that will be in the list of links.
I actually have a hybrid daughter, I believe, that I would love to connect with, called Exara. So just if you guys want a name, her name is Exara, and let's hope that she comes through. So I'll be there on Tuesday. Let's see what happens.
That is fantastic. And I know that a few of my friends here, Roy and Susie and Tara and Chris, I know a lot of you are going to be very likely to be there with us. So it's going to be a wonderful event. Thank you so much, everybody. Love to all of you. Enjoy, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I look forward to next time. Take care. Goodbye, everybody. It's wonderful to have you all here. I would like to welcome to this meeting Raphael. Thank you so much for being here again.
So excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. I will give people an opportunity to ask Raphael more questions after the remote viewing, after we've seen what people perceive here. There will be full and open conversation for anybody that's interested. But I think right now we should just dive straight into this. We should get into the meditation. Do you think does that work, Raphael?
Yeah. Before we do, I just want to say a couple of words.
Yeah, go for it.
first and foremost, I want to thank everybody in the space right now. This is the first time that I am sharing this information, and the only one that knows about any of my hybrid children, aside from what I've displayed in the documentary, is my wife. I do have a very close personal connection. I don't have like an everyday connection, or like just when I'm deep in meditation or sometime I'm feeling troubled. One of my specific children, I'm not going to tell you the gender, but at this moment, one of my specific children definitely come in and is very, very powerful in contact with me. I feel this energy very, very strongly, and I communicate with this with this energy very, very clearly, like very closely, very clearly. So if that energy decides to come through, is definitely something I'm looking forward to. And then I'm open to anything else that comes through. I'm excited, and I'm super, like, I've been meditating all day. I've been clearing my mind all day to get myself ready for this event right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if I get a couple of hits myself on some deeper notes. So thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your space. And let's go get them.
Yay. Okay. Let us all close our eyes. And we relax our bodies. Let us focus for a minute or two on our breathing. Feel every breath in and every breath out that you take. And with every breath in that you take, I'd like you to imagine that you're breathing in spiritual energy from our surroundings. Warm, luminous, healing, soothing spiritual energy. We breathe it in into our spirit, into our bodies, from our surrounding extra-dimensional spaces. We breathe it in with every breath and imagine it entering your bodies like a warm, glowing, gaseous cloud of energy that we draw into our bodies and we channel into all parts of our bodies, consciously moving the spiritual energy into our feet and legs, our torsos, our arms and our hands, and our necks and our heads. And as this spiritual energy moves into us, it warms us, it soothes us, it washes away tensions and darknesses. And with every breath out that we take, I'd like you to imagine just releasing tensions from all around your bodies. Let your muscles relax. Let all stresses disappear. We breathe out tensions from our biological bodies. We breathe out tensions and stresses from within our minds. We live in a harsh world, and it's sometimes hard to escape the dark things going on in our lives, the distractions away from beauty. Let us now just let go of all those darknesses. Let us ascend to a higher level. As we breathe in spiritual energy into our bodies, let it brighten us so much that it displaces any darknesses, any ill will towards others, any stresses, any hardships. Being alive is so beautiful. For those precious moments of love and friendship, compassion and caring, connection. Let us think now of our spirits flowing smoothly and harmoniously through our feet. Try and visualize our spiritual feet. Maybe feel the life of your spirit within your feet, connecting out through your toes, through the soles of your feet to the ground. We connect deep into this planet, ground ourselves, root ourselves in the earth that sustains all of the life on this planet. Let us see our spirit clearly flowing up from our feet, through our legs, smoothly, harmoniously. We see our spirit grow from our feet, through our legs, up into our torsos. We fill our spinal column with spiritual light. We draw in this spiritual energy from our surroundings, channel it into our central nervous system. All the nerves throughout our bodies light up and turn on. A beautiful network of structure that facilitates our consciousness, our abilities, biological and spiritual. Feel your spiritual energy, see your spiritual life flowing through each and every organ, throughout all of your bones, your skin. We tune into our spirits thoroughly. We see our spiritual beings extending through our shoulders and down into our arms. Down into our hands. Feel the spiritual life flowing through our fingertips and our palms, connecting outwards with all things around us in our environment, living and non-living things, conscious and non-conscious things, biotic and abiotic. We connect fully with our world. Let us see our spirits flowing up through our necks and into our heads. We gently, softly flow our spirit around through all of our facial muscles, relaxing them further, letting go of tensions. We flow our spirit smoothly, gently through our brains, brightening every single part of our brains, absorbing in more spiritual energy. And our brains glow and turn on their full potential. We see the parts of our brains responsible for our psychic perceptions glowing, activating, turning on. And we see clearly our entire spirits, our own beautiful extra-dimensional spirits. Let us flow our spirits with perfect harmony, with no blockages, no restrictions, pure brightness. Let us open up our spirit arms and hands and reach out and connect with each and every person in this meeting, whether we remember their names or not. We imagine gently connecting, holding each other's hands, sharing love. And as we do this, let us consciously let go of any forms of negative discrimination. We feel the same level of friendship and love and support and admiration for each and every person who is here, regardless of their gender, their age, their appearance, their abilities, their ethnic background, their beliefs, their ways. Let us unite here together in love, in peace, in harmony. And I'm going to ask everybody, please, to picture now in your minds Rafael. And let us all, let our conscious minds drift to his location. Let us gather around him. Let us reach out our hands, our spirit hands, and gently make contact with him, with love, with friendship, with support. And we give ourselves over to his connection and his guidance to move our conscious minds all together to wherever the hybrid offspring is that he has the strongest connection with. Let us feel ourselves drawn to that being, as though our spiritual bodies are spiritually magnetic, being drawn to the spiritual magnet of Raphael's offspring, the one that he has most knowledge about, the strongest connection with. Let us pull ourselves to that being. And we approach respectfully. We draw ourselves to the being. We fill our hearts with love for this being. What an amazing thing to be bridging a gap between humans and aliens. And we radiate love to them. We smile at them. We let them know that their appearance, anything about them that is different or unusual to us, we completely accept and embrace. And we ask politely for the being that we're connecting with to reveal their appearance to us. And we reach out our spiritual perceptions, like spiritual sonar or radar, and we look for the shape of their heads. We take note of the position and shape of their eyes, And we ask ourselves, with no filtering, no expectations, we ask to see, to perceive the color of their eyes. Are they black completely? Do they have whites like our eyes? Do they have any color at all, or distinct characteristics? Let us see the beauty in those eyes. When we look around the rest of the face, does this face appear more human, more alien, or a mixture? What is the color of the skin? Let us see the nose. Let us see the mouth. Does this mouth look like a mouth that could eat solid foods like humans eat? Do we see teeth? Or does this mouth look smaller, no longer used for solid food consumption? We ask, how do you get your nutrition? What food do you eat, or how do you take energy into your body? Let us listen for an answer. We look down at the shape of this being. Does this being have a male form, a female form, or is it not really distinctive enough to tell? Is this being wearing clothes? And if so, what do those clothes look like? What color are these clothes? We radiate our thanks and our appreciation to this being for this contact. Let them feel your thanks. We extend our spiritual hands forwards with an invitation for this being to connect with one or more of our spiritual hands. We feel for any touch. We look to see if they have fingers and how many fingers. We ask them for a number. If we as humans have 5 fingers on each hand, how many fingers does this being have on each hand? What number comes to our mind? What number do we see? We stand back a little bit and we take in the entire image of this being. And we move our gaze slowly around them, looking for any other details that we see. Are there any details that she or he or they could show to us that would enable us to better perceive them, to maybe confirm what we're seeing? And now I'm going to ask this being, could we please see around you the environment you're in? Let us look past them to see if we can see if they're inside a craft, if they appear to be in a natural environment. Does it look like they might be on the earth, under the ground, or in some kind of technologically advanced space? We ask them, please show us and tell us where you are. And we would like to make it clear to this being, we don't come here with judgment. We don't come here with any judgment at all. For you, for your alien parents or family. But we would like to understand your purpose, your reason for being brought into existence. Can you speak to us or put messages in our minds, show us images? Why were you brought into this universe? I'm going to suggest to Raphael that in his mind telepathically, if there are any other questions he would like to ask right now, in his mind, he should go ahead and ask them. And we will try and tune into any answers, any messages at all that come through from this being. And I would like to reach out and ask the being who is with us now, please tell us or show us the first letter of your name. Let us open up our psychic perceptions to receiving any images or sounds. Please tell us or show us the first syllable of your name. How do we start off saying your name? Now please, we ask you to say slowly your full name. I'm going to ask this being, what do you do typically? What is your main function or job? What do you typically do with your everyday, in your everyday life? Let us all radiate love and thanks to this wonderful being, Raphael's offspring. Let us feel genuine and sincere love that we would like to share with her. The last thing I would like to invite her to do, if she is willing, and I've given away the gender because I know her gender in advance, that's okay. I would like to ask her, is there any way that you can come to us physically? Let us hear you. Let us see you. Can we hear your voice, feel your presence? Can you come spiritually or biologically into the space where we presently are? And if it feels right for each individual human in this session to allow this, to permit this, then give her your permission to reach out and gently touch you on the shoulder or head. We radiate love and thanks, and we invite this being to stay with us for the remainder of this meditation if she wants to. Thank you very much. And now we are going to be guided by Raphael, by his knowledge, by his memories, by his spiritual connections to any other hybrid children that he has had in the past, whose age we don't presently know. I don't know anything about these other hybrid beings, so I'm not going to give anything away accidentally. Let your own spirit be attracted to one or more of any other hybrid children that Raphael has. We pull ourselves to them. We approach them respectfully. We bow our heads in respect. We raise them. We smile at them. We radiate love to them. And we say to them, we are Raphael's friends. We are friends of your father. And we ask respectfully that you let us see you, and we ask respectfully that you allow us to know your names. Please tell us your name. We are here because we wish to spread peace and love and happiness to all sentient life within our reach. We reach out to you in love and in friendship, and we ask you to please give us any messages or advice that you think would be beneficial for us to hear, for Raphael to hear, or for our species to hear. And I have one last question for all of Raphael's hybrid children. What is the name or the identity of the non-human species that you are a part of, that you belong to? With which species other than human are you hybridized? Please tell us or show us. And let us, humans, be as pure in our love as possible, as peaceful in our intent, as non-judgmental as we can imagine. And let us radiate love to that other species. Whether it's more than one species or just one, we radiate love and a desire to be their friends. We hope one day that we can meet you face to face in friendship without having our memories taken away, with just peace, love, knowledge, constructive dialogue. Anybody, human, hybrid, or alien who wishes to join us now for a large group hug, let us drift towards Raphael. We open up our arms and we embrace human and hybrid, alien, spiritual, biological, physical, any beings that are here. We form a beautiful sphere of spiritual embrace. And let us allow in this hug our love to flow freely from us into them. And if any beings here permit it, let us allow our spirits to flow into them and do more than walk in their shoes. Let us be each other for a few seconds. Let us join as one. Now we gently separate ourselves out. We draw our spirits back to our own individual consciousnesses. We smile and we radiate love to all of the beings that have participated today. We radiate thanks, and we allow our spirits to drift away, to be pulled back towards our bodies. We let our spirits find our bodies back in our homes, back in the places where our biological bodies are. We pull our spirits fully back into our biological bodies. We draw our spirits in like a spiritual liquid being drawn back into a sponge. We center our spiritual heart where our biological hearts are. We draw back in our spiritual hands our spiritual feet, and our conscious mind back into our biological heads. We don't want to be drifting around out there with any parts of us not fully returned, so we imagine our spirit fully superimposing and coming back in to our biological bodies and establishing a perfect harmony. And we think again about our breathing in and out. And as we breathe in, we harmonize our energy flows. As we breathe out, we wash away tensions and disharmony. We breathe in harmony. We breathe out tensions. We hear the sounds around us in our neighborhoods. We feel the temperature of the air on our skin, the touch of our clothes on our skin. All of our senses are restored, physical and spiritual. We feel whole, healthy, and happy. When we're ready, our biological eyes can open. Ah, well, I succeeded in keeping the gender secret for a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to ask a few general questions here, and if people want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, you can do so. How many of you felt like there was a tangible spiritual connection between us human beings? Good. I think that's almost everybody. How many people feel like they connected with any non-human entity at all? Okay, that's wonderful. I am going to, from there, just ask individuals to volunteer any information they wish to volunteer. And I'm going to suggest, Rafael, that you go last so that you can listen to everybody first and see if there's any correlations to what you know to be true.
I would love that. I would love that. There's one specific thing I can't wait to listen to.
Okay.
All right, but I would love that. Go get them.
Okay. Is anybody here ready and brave enough to? Susan, yes. Go ahead and unmute.
I kept hearing the name Omara.
Omara. Thank you. Thank you. That's good to know we have a name that somebody heard. And I'm going to say we might have connected with a number of different beings, so we might get a number of different names. So if you also heard a name and it wasn't Omara, don't be put off. Go ahead and say what you want to say. Harry, you're looking more like the Emperor than a Jedi today, I've got to say. It's an awesome look.
Thank you. Thank you.
With a shadowed face. Who else wants
Use the Force, Harry. Use the Force.
Yeah. Who else has anything they'd like to volunteer? Tara. Do you want to unmute for us, Tara? Okay, she's holding something up, so I'm going to pin that to my screen so I can see it more clearly.
I saw 16 doorways around a giant one that is cobalt. There's a cobalt blue obelisk in the center of the the entryway. And these, I believe, are just tones, like noise. You know, I can't explain.
Tones. Wow.
The whole room was filled with what I would call cymatics, impressions that you would see like in sand. And above each doorway, there was a different symbol with a different geometric shape associated with it. And I also saw a scientific type being that was kind of like a personal assistant, or maybe even, what's the word? Like a fellowship, somebody that's under one of your kids, working for one of your kids. And this is, I don't want to scare anyone, but this is what it looks like. I think this is what I got.
Oh, that's cute.
It's kind of a long fingered claw-like manted type hand. And
are those equations next to it?
No, I wish they were. They're notes.
Okay.
You said something. You were asking a lot of questions about what it looks like, what it feels like. This here, I got the word Sitka, S-I-T-K-A, I guess. And this is what it looked like.
Ah.
And I also, hi, Hogan. I also got that your child that you're trying to connect with does poetry and some sort of cymatic research, noise research, which is funny that you're a musician. Rupert, you asked what they're like what do they seem like? What are they putting off? Loud, bored, and fun. On the way to that room with the doorway, my husband saw a roundabout with the cobalt blue obelisk in the center before the doorway even existed. And we also have the energy they gave off was light blue, ultraviolet, cobalt blue, and kind of greenish. So whoever that means to you was very bright, very loud, kind of bored, and really fun. And they said, there's a quote, they said, if I had feet like yours, I'd have shoes just like his or dad's. So I don't know what that means either, but it was very pleasant. I heard also that the companion that I drew deals with avians, raptors or reptiles. I'm not sure what I heard. The talls, and I couldn't get the right word. It sounds like angels, but it's not the word angels. It might be 3 or 4 syllables longer than that. But I heard the word ain and gel somewhere in it, but it wasn't the word angels. I just want to be clear. But I'll take photos of those and send them to both of you guys.
Thank you.
Sure.
Those are good drawings.
I'm sorry. They're really bad.
No, they're good. The first drawing you showed me, when I saw it, I felt a connection with it. I
feel like, I don't know if this is all of us, because there's not 16 people, is there?
There's 14 here right now, with your husband 15.
And then his child.
And I know one of my friends came in, but they
well, your daughter. I don't know if they're female or not. They're very feminine. It's just like Tuk Tuk. I don't know if she's a female or if just very feminine, you know. But that your daughter's assistant might be named Sitka. I'm not sure if that's their name or not.
Okay.
Or if I'm not sure, but that's all I got. Besides a lot of other things that I couldn't write down.
Well,
sorry.
Thank you very much, Tara. And I just want to add, when I saw that picture, I felt like, hang on a second, did you post that? Because I've seen that before. It felt like some kind of a deja vu, but then I don't know, there's something about that picture that I connected with.
Maybe that's the doorway we all went through, and we didn't. Not everybody can see where they're going when they're going there. They just kind of see the blips when they get them.
Okay.
When we was all on board ship, I asked some of the hybrid kids to take some of you that can perceive the ship around to see the ship.
Maybe that's a
And
hallway, and that's just how
that could be a hull of the ship, more
Sure.
than likely.
But definitely the
Very cool.
circles up top were noises. There were different tones.
Well, thank you so much, Tara. I really appreciate all of that detail. Does anybody else want to contribute any perceptions at all that they had? There's a few people raised their hand. I'm going to go with Spirit Girl first.
Okay, there we are. Briefly, when you were wanting to know where we were at, originally I was starting to see a room with a lot of screens in it. I understand now and later on that this was the ship, but I was seeing the technical part of it and the running of the ship and the screens and the companion at one point that came in. I don't know. It was a purplish gown, full length all the way to the floor, and he had no hair that I could see. It was I want to say a bit of an elongated skull, but there was no hair. And he seems to be overwatching the whole thing. And my first connection was, I was afraid that, well, not afraid, but I thought my mind got involved, and I was thinking that I was talking to the wrong person, because what I first got was a male energy, but then I got a really strong energy. And Omara, I kept coming up with Mar, M-A-R. So it was very close to the same thing. But I originally thought that was Mom. So I was having a struggle with identity, with who was attached to what. But all group hugs, it was phenomenal. And I want to say thank you, Rafael, for sharing your child and your children with all of us. And thank you for letting me be a part of this.
Thank you so much, Spirit Girl, for being here. Roy, I saw that you had your hand up.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you did ask a lot of questions, and I was writing down my perceptions as fast as I could, so I've got a lot of notes here. I didn't really get a chance to get any drawings in, just a very quick sketch of what I.
Okay, I'm going to pin that to my screen so I can see it. Okay. Yeah.
Very humanoid, like light blue skin, bright ice blue eyes, blonde, almost whitish hair. You had asked about food and consumption, and what I gathered, it's a collection of vibration, a manipulation of energy to change form at will. So there's not really a consumption of a resource. It's more like a manifestation of the materials around to add to a physical body when a physical body is being manifested. First, I want to say to Rafael, in my younger years, people would ask me, "Do you have any kids?" And I would say 2 that I know of. And you, my friend, put a whole different meaning to that.
Wonderful.
But one of the messages that I got was, and I'd said this last time, was the soul agreements and the concept of a soul group. It's kind of like an onion where we find ourselves in the center, and our soul group are the souls, many souls that are around us, closer, and then it just kind of layers outward until you reach the infinity and the one group. And as stages in our life goes, those individual souls get closer, and some move farther out, and they get closer and they move farther out. Different souls for different periods of our life, for initiating different experiences to help us along on the path that we chose to experience prior to incarnating here on this earth walk. I did get a glimpse or a slight message of becoming Raphael and you too, Rupert, members of the Galactic Federation as ambassadors for humankind. Another message that came through was a reminder: what you resist will persist, and what you fear you draw near. And to keep in mind that lower, slower, and higher, faster vibrations in the universe are from the same creative source. And it is through that source that we have to recognize and honor and respect those that are on a lower, slower vibratorial path, where they're there to allow us to experience what we're not, so that we better know and understand what we are. The location, I didn't make it into a ship, because the message I got was that, location is a choice. You had asked Rupert, you had asked, why are you here? What why did you come here into existence? I got to just be love, light, and peace, and a reflection of those, and to be an example of a choice that we all have. We all have that choice to be love, light, and peace. As far as being here on the physical, in the spiritual, it's always, she's here always. And I had known, as you did, Rupert, the previous gender, but the awareness is here always. In a physical form, it's possible, yes. But currently, to exist here on the physical earth, it's not safe yet, and the emphasis is on yet. So I think in the near future that will be possible for a physical existence out in the open for our hybrid children. And that's about it.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much for all of that, Roy. Is there anybody else here who has any perceptions they'd like to volunteer, whether it's big or small? Hasmin? Hasmik, sorry.
That's okay, I know. Hi, everybody. So before even we started the meditation, I had these messages of a young male, like a teenager, and the name came to me as Dun, D-U-N, and he is on one of the biggest crafts that is the closest to the earth, and he is extremely smart and is working with technology. They are using his smarts for the technologies on the craft. when we started the meditation, and then his physical kind of body, he looked like Tuk to me, like with his big black eyes and light blue um, skin, but he was like skinny and really very handsome guy with such an amazing energy. Like it was like I felt it, and he had 2 holes for the nose. As for fingers, it was amazing. When I asked about the fingers, I was just trying to see the fingers. He said he can increase the numbers of his fingers whenever he needs it. That was pretty amazing. And he took me by my hand for a tour on the craft. And I also see these huge screens and computers and then machines. He seemed so proud of showing me all this stuff. And he's, by the way, he's being sent to the Earth pretty often for special missions. And he said that he adores Earth. He loves Earth. He loves being on Earth. And then the last thing, I asked him if he can connect with Raphael. And he said, I will, and I do. And he knows me. So I don't know. And I think he also mentions that he knows his sisters and the brother. I don't know, like maybe one brother and how many sisters, but that's what I.
That is fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Chris.
Hey, everybody. So, I mean, obviously everybody's bringing in different stuff. I did pick up on that. It was a female. They did have blue eyes. I wasn't sure about the hair, but it was a light colored hair. When you were asking for the name Alicia or Eliza, something like that along those lines came up. I don't know if that's correct or not. When you were asking about what they eat, the food, something in liquid form is what came up in my mind. I don't know how accurate that is, but those are kind of the things that were popping in my head and that I was picking up on. I'm not as gifted as some of the other people here, like Roy or Spirit Girl or Princess Pants. Yeah, Princess Fancy Pants over there. But we have our gifts. Mine, I don't think, is for seeing without seeing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But I'm just happy to be here, happy to be part of this, as always, and happy to expand my mind and be part of something better, always.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate that. Is there anybody else here who feels like they might have had any perceptions? Susie.
All right. Well, after that one, that I have to, and of course, I don't have a lot of faith in what I perceived. Plus, I had like this heavy thing that finally got lifted, so I kind of went in and out. But it was a woman, and it was like Lyra or Lyra, blue eyes. For me, it's like she was very dainty. She was very, I think, dressed in all white, but just kind of sat, real, very, almost like timid or, just exuding love. And it was in a round room with, it wasn't like really mirrors behind, but if you were at a dressing table, I guess, or maybe it was a, computer, like a cubby or something like that. The colors were pastel, pink and blue, but real pastel, not even determinable. Dainty, slight, soft voice, and food was liquid. And when you asked about the hands, it was like, well, I have 5 fingers just like you. So that's about all. Because I never really know, what the.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always hard, I think, for anybody to really know, is that a perception? Is that imagination? What's going on?
And sometimes I was thinking I wanted to wait until I heard, because sort of like that's like when when Chris, then it's like, oh yeah, I felt that too, or I perceived that too. So we'll see.
Well, thank you very much for
Thank
sharing.
you all.
Is there anybody else that wants to share anything? Chris, you've put up your hand again.
Yeah, I wanted to mention earlier, I forgot to mention, it was like when they asked where they were from or who their species, I was thinking Palladian or
Same here.
Arcturian.
I
don't know if that's,
yeah.
I don't know if that was it, but that's what I picked up on. So.
Okay. Wonderful, thank you. I'm going to, I feel like somebody is probably going to message me details after this, and that's completely okay. If anybody did draw anything at all, any images, do please feel free to photograph that and message that to me. I am recording this session, and what I will do is I'm going to edit this together with Friday's meeting. I will blur everybody, probably apart from me and Rafael. I will make sure nobody's names are visible, but the audio will come through. And if anybody does send me any images, I can insert those images into this when I release that recording. Is there anybody else here other than Rafael that wants to speak? Okay, Rafael, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you everybody for, your messages and all the perceptions and all the things that you've received. A lot of it resonated with me. Some of it, it didn't resonate as much, but some of it definitely did. And what I saw was, what was super cool was the minute we got it deep into meditation and Rupert started saying like everybody kind of like surround me at the home. I don't know about you guys, but I was kind of like staring at all of you, the people that was around me. I was like, all right, there you guys go. How you do? How you guys doing? It was at first, it was a little jarring to kind of see everybody's like spirit forms kind of floating around me, but I can easily perceive when people are remote viewing around me. So that was one thing that was super cool. And then once that happened, we all kind of like shot through my crown chakra. I do like this technique to where I do like this really big spotlight that goes all the way down through my feet, all the way through the earth until it shines on the other side of the earth into space, and then all the way through my head, going up into the sky till it pierces earth. And that's kind of like how I give the ETs a kind of like a spotlight to vector the consciousness and where we kind of all are. So I kind of guided everybody to get into that spotlight in my crown chakra. We all kind of shot through and ended up in the ship. Once we ended up inside ship, my daughter, her name is Exara. So a lot of people got really close with the AR at the end. I noticed that a lot of people had the aura, and I was like, whoa, that was really cool. A lot of people got really close. So her name was Exara. And the minute we all kind of shot up into the ship, there was a whole bunch of hybrid kids ready and willing to start separating the group. And I asked Exara, I was like, so me and you can have some personal time. Is it okay if you send the kids to like show everybody around the ship? So that's why everybody kind of had these visions of screens and these visions of like being in separate rooms with separate people, because you were being separated by groups of children and other people. So while I was standing with my daughter, the room was circular. It was a very open space, but it had windows. So a lot of people could be perceiving the screens as windows, the windows as screens. And what was on the opposite side of the window was the moon. So we were very close to Earth upon this ship. And two of the hybrids that approached me, super excited to come talk to me. One of her name was Abba, and the other name started with a Z. Zariah, something with a Z. And they told me Palladian, Arcturian, and Asani. Those were the races, the hybrid races of the children. They all looked kind of a little human, a little hybrid, but the eyes were definitely ocean blue, sparkly eyes. They had whites in the eyes. The only thing different about the eyes, they were like double or triple the size, and small noses, mouth. The way they eat is Roy kind of hit it directly on the head. They explained it to me exactly the same way. They don't eat physically with their mouths because that's why their mouths are so small. They barely even use them to speak to each other because they're telepathic. And what they do is energy wise, whenever they need or they feel depleted, they just kind of manifest energy that's allowing them to kind of keep going, and they kind of fuel themselves. That's the same way they make their ships. As a matter of fact, their ships are built in like another dimension, straight with thought and energy. She wanted me to know that. One of the messages that came through that she definitely needed me to know was the fear of the end of the world. A lot of people are worried about the end of the world, but we forget that we're multidimensional beings and we can shift. So they said humans are so funny because they have the ability to shift into any dimension that they want to in any plane of existence. They can shift into a plane that doesn't have the end of the world scenario happening, but they choose to stay in the end of the world scenario. So they just found it funny that we could just choose to literally think of a different world and we can shift into that world. So this worry about being lack or fear or all that is all a human construct. Another thing is that love is the fuel of creation. They wanted us to know that the more love that we give each other, the more we do meetups like this, the closer we are to becoming a galactic civilization. And that's what they were doing upon ship. A lot of the hybrids, their job, they're able, some of them are able to come to Earth. My daughter specifically was bred to be captain of the ship or to like run the ship as like a second commander. So she's not allowed to be on Earth. She's just ship bound, born on ship, lives on ship, will be on ship. But she talks of a day where it will be okay for hybrids to be upon Earth. And that's a day when enlightened, they kept on showing me like a scale and enlightenment being tipped over to a certain point to where it won't matter who believes what. It'll just be enough people to where the vibration is resonating enough for the beings to appear. They also say that they're here all the time. It's all about the perception and the vibration in which you have to perceive them. So they're always here. They're always flying around. It's just about how hard do you believe? How much do you know they're there? Usually when you look up, and they say usually when you look up and you like, I kind of feel like there's a UFO. Nine times out of 10 is there. It's just either outside of a dimension, outside of your shift. Like it's there. You're sensing it, but you get this feeling of like, am I really sensing it, or is it imagination, like Rupert said? So you kind of get lost in your ego, but stick to your stomach, like stick to your gut. Then once we was getting ready to leave, everybody was sad. A lot of people was like, I want to keep on communicating. I want to keep on seeing the ship. And then we all started kind of like turning into light form. So that's probably what Tara was seeing us as little orbs of light floating above doorways. We kind of all started to like turn into light little by little, and I kept on seeing my daughter. Now my daughter is about 5, maybe 5'3", 5'4". She was wearing a blue skin tight suit with a little emblem on the right side of her suit. She's very light pale skin, but like has a bluish, very light bluish hue to it. She has hair, but it's very frail, very thin, and she wraps it in a little ponytail. So to some, it could look like she's bald. And she has an elongated skull. So whoever spoke about the elongated skull, that was 100%, dead on to my daughter. She has an elongated skull, and she's standing in front of these windows, and there's like the moon is so big right in front of us. So I perceive like we're on a UFO, like really close to the moon, kind of looking at Earth. And she's like super proud, like, oh my gosh, I don't believe. And she said a funny joke when we first got there. She was like, wow, Dad, is so I'm so happy to see you, but who are all these strange people? Like, what is, like, who are these people coming with you? You came, and this Rupert guy, he's just talking away, just walking around talking away. And I'm just like, yeah, they're my friends, they're really cool. Just send everybody around to talk to you. And then I just saw, I'm literally watching everybody split up into little groups and go into different parts of the ship. And then we turned into like these little balls of light, and then we all kind of like separated. It wasn't like we shot back into my light specifically. I went into my own body, and then everybody kind of like separated and went along their own way. And then I got this sense of like heat on my left shoulder when I came back into my body. And then I easily felt like a palm on my shoulder, which is like my daughter going spiritually. It almost like walking me to my door. It was weird. I get the sense like, I just want to be with my dad's energy for as long as I can. She made it all the way to my home. And then she was like, I want to see my brothers. So on the way up, I'm just going to creep into their room and watch them play. And then she's going to leave. And that was it. That's what I perceived. So I hope that kind of resonated with you guys a little bit. But a lot of what you guys were saying, I was like, whoa, that's super on the money.
That's wonderful. Yeah, there were a lot of people got a lot of things consistent with what you were talking about there. That's fantastic. I felt like we were at the moon. So, you know, I actually didn't pick up a huge number of perceptions. I could feel the presence of everybody, but I definitely felt like, oh, moon. That was cool. Well, that is wonderful. Having heard Rafael speak, does anybody else have anything else that they wish to add or say? Tara?
I have a question because one of y'all said that she was kind of meek, but just kind of laid back as well. I feel like she was, but when she's not being like that and being good for everybody, she's loud and she's super fun about it. I feel like she's like you, Roth. I really do. Sorry to call you Roth. We're not friends like that.
It's all good. We're definitely friends like that. You can call me whatever you want to call me.
And thank you for letting us meet your daughter. She is so smart. That's such a pleasure. Like I call them warm fuzzies. Everybody else calls them goosebumps, but they feel warm to me, not cold. So
she was she kept on telling me she's a little overwhelmed at first because she wasn't used to that many people
I literally
at one time.
I kind of heard her say, "Who this, Dad?" You know, like
she was like, "What's going on here?" It's like if you just wanted to see me, you could have came by yourself. You didn't have to bring like the whole 16 people.
Just said hi. I like her a lot.
Thank you. Rafael, do you actually connect with her often? Do you reach out to her like in this way, just not with big crowds of people?
It's funny because it's sometimes I'm like going, like I'm down and I'm feeling like I'm kind of alone, you know, like, and then I'll get this whisper in the back like, you're not alone. I wish I could be there with you. And then I can kind of feel the difference. It's weird because when she speaks, I feel it in my body as well as my mind. And then when I communicate with other beings, it's not so much of a connection. The only thing I can explain it is like if I'm about to call my mother will pick up the phone and be like, you know, I had a feeling you was going to call me because I was thinking about you all day. It's the same kind of connection. Like when we connect, it's almost like the DNA match is so strong between us because we are like related on a, you know, DNA level that it's unreal. So yeah, I connect. I wish I should do it on more often. It's like I don't call as much as I should, but yeah, every couple of months, me and her have a couple conversations. And definitely when I'm down, she's that little voice in my head that's always like, hey, we're watching, we're always here, don't worry. And sometimes I feel like when people got it out for me, like she's also like, I feel bad for the people that want bad things to happen to you because they don't understand who's on your side, daddy. So things like that she tells me all the time too. It's pretty cool.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Anybody else have anything? Does anybody else want to say anything before we move towards the end of the meeting? I have a request. Oh yes, Spirit Girl.
I had a question. When you were talking about screens, Rafael, just a second ago, when I was visualizing out, I realized what I thought were all screens. I think some of them was the window actually going out. And I didn't see the moon, but I did hear that we were close to Earth. So that matches with what you, this has been so incredible, everybody. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Spirit Girl, feel free to say no if you can't. Do you mind? I have a question for you. Do you mind staying at the end of this meeting for a minute?
No, I can stay.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, I would like to thank everybody so much for being here. And please do send any images that you have drawn to me, and I will throw them into a little video here that I will post in Patreon. Rafael, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Your energy and your character and your connections with these beings is wonderful. I want to give a shout out just to the whole group of people we have here, because wow, what a team. What an amazing group of people we have here. We have a few people who have astonishing psychic perceptions, and you're so valuable. What you're doing in helping us to spread peace, love, and happiness is astonishing. And those people, kind of like myself, who are here, who do not have quite the same psychic abilities as others, you are just as important. Your continuing strength and support, your spiritual presence, your loving and caring characters, you are so valuable to the energy of this group. And I would like to thank everybody here, whether you talked or not, whether you had strong perceptions or not. We're all part of the same family, and I love you all, and thank you so much, everybody, for being here.
Yes. And I would like to add, to the people that feel as if they don't have the gifts, we all have the gifts. It's a human ability. It's not superhuman. We're all superhumans. They just don't teach us this in school the way they teach us the alphabet and the 1, 2, 3s. This is something we all came into this planet to do. So just remember one thing. It's about trust. It's all about trust. Remote viewing, all these perceptions is about trusting the fact that the information that's coming in, the original idea, not the ego that comes in afterwards that's telling you that it's wrong. That first flash of information that comes in is usually 99% the right thing. So just trust yourself, and you will understand that it's a superhuman ability that all humans have. So just wanted to add that, Rupert.
Thank you very much. Chris, I've got to figure out how you do that magic stuff on your screen. I don't know. He just holds up his hands and these magical hearts appear. Look at that. He's making fireworks now.
I thought it was cool. I thought I had the cool setup with the dual camera and all the cool stuff. And he got cartoons and all the man.
Actually, I tell you what, I've got my thermal
For my next trick. Sorry.
I've got my thermal imaging camera that has recorded my space, this session, I'm going to be curious to know if there's any unusual things going on. Anyway, I will let people know.
That's actually a good idea. I need to get me one of those cameras. I didn't think about doing that. That's actually a great idea. Yep.
This is an awesome camera. I'm so excited. I will do some kind of review video of it sometime soon, because it's cheaper than FLIR, whatever that's called. Higher resolution, just a whole lot better for a whole lot less, and I'm loving it. Haven't picked up on any entities yet, but the images are stunning.
Rupert, sorry to interrupt. Is that the one that you were using on the Rockaway, New Jersey event that I attended with you?
No, that was
that little monocular thing.
That was a Psionics Aurora Pro night vision camera. I bought a new one recently, which is thermal imaging, which is not visible light. It picks up on heat, on temperature, and I think it's going to be the way to go to capture on camera beings that are around us. Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of your evenings, days, and weeks, and I will see you all next time. And I'm hoping Spirit Girl might stay for a minute.
Love to you all. Thank you, guys.
Thank
you, Rupert and Rafael.
You're very welcome.
Love to everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.
Love to all my brothers and sisters. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night.
You too, Roy. Love you.
Till the next episode, we'll catch you then.